Have you ever been minding your own business, particularly in a public area, only to have a feeling of dread wash over you for seemingly no reason? Upon examining your surroundings, you notice someone is staring at you. In your mind, you want them to avert their gaze, but you also wonder, how did I know that they were staring at me? This question has puzzled humanity from the very dawn of civilization. And from as early as 2 centuries BC, we have evidence of references to this phenomenon being known as the evil eye. Envy, as written in the Bible, is an evil eye. However, the idea of envy and the very nature of creation stemming from the eye predates even the foundation of Christianity. Today, we will discuss the origins of the concept of the evil eye, as well as the vast magnitude of rituals and charms being used against it. In simplest terms, the evil eye is jealousy, malice, or unwanted desire towards an object or being which directly affects said object or being in a negative manner. This evil eye is said to affect not only individual humans, but also animals, gods, and even inanimate objects or ideas. The evil eye itself embodies one of man's primordial natures, a desire for something which you do not possess or understand. The evil eye is said to literally be the manifestation or projection of negativity into the ether, which can then have an effect on the physical realm. What's most interesting to me is from the earliest advanced civilizations, we have an understanding and acceptance of this evil eye as a nature of man. What we need to understand, however, is the depiction of the eye, as well as many other insignias, are not meant to invoke or display the evil eye, but on the contrary, they're inserted into these artworks as an aversion of the evil eye. An artist's depiction of the eye itself is said to be put there to draw attention of the viewer and thus put them in a trance or state of tranquility which opposes the evil eye. In Phoenician, Etruscan, Egyptian, and later Roman times, we discover that to cast the evil eye was known to be fascinating someone or something. It's true, the word fascinate itself is to cast the evil eye, at least in the old dictionary definitions of the word. And up until the 1600s, the idea of fascination and the word itself was in fact an extremely negative connotation that was associated with envy and jealousy. Fascinate itself, they say, comes from Greek and Roman times, and the root for the word is fascis. We also have ancient Hindu customs from India, in which case the evil eye or the negativity of envy is cast aside by the varying degrees of motion and hand signals and dance that is depicted in the artworks and the idols. We also have the statues and monuments that are extremely grotesque, like the gargoyles and things of that nature, and we have similar statues that predate that found in India. And they say these were used much like scarecrows are in modern times. They were constructed in a manner to avert the evil eye. We also have amulets from the Phoenician times, Egyptian times, and BC times, which predate modern jewelry. And they're said basically jewelry itself was created to avert the evil eye. As I continued my research, I discovered that many modern-day amenities and common occurrences can actually have their origins traced back to ancient times and this aversion of the evil eye. Today, I will attempt to discuss some of these major examples for you, tie together their importance, and open the table for your ideas. I will also be referencing an amazing book called The Evil Eye, an account of this ancient and widespread superstition by Frederick Thomas Elworthy, and this was written and published in 1895. Let's begin this narrative as seemingly all narratives begin in Egypt. From the beginning of Egyptian culture, there is a belief that God created the sun from his eye and the earth and humanity from his mouth. This belief was also representative of the dichotomy of an all-knowing, all-seeing God. God, who created the sun from his eye, which was worshipped on the earth from his mouth, had the ability to use his eye to watch the earth which he had created. Thus, early Egyptians had the concept of the fear of God, And from this fear of God came the creation of the all-seeing eye, or the eye of Horus, literally a representation of the all-seeing God, which they looked to glorify. This reminder of faith to the Egyptians would denote their beliefs in God's eyes, and thus they believed cause him to avert his gaze and thus avert his wrath. This eye of Horus was adopted as the symbol of Egypt and became used in nearly every aspect of Egyptian life. It was the first ever symbol created to represent a larger civilization and would go on to influence surrounding nations until many other cultures developed their own symbols to avert the evil eye, while these symbols became known to represent different clans and families. These symbols, all created to avert the said evil eye, would predate modern-day royal insignias and go on to lead to the invention and use of flags and family crests as not only identifiers, but also as protection from the evil eye. These became the basis for the family crests we see being used all throughout time. These crests, which began themselves as designs meant to denote a specific group and avert the evil eye from said group, basically became the basis for identification of different areas throughout time, and is an aspect of history I never heard discussed before. The flags, which usually stem from a family or noble crest, having these crests themselves designed in unique ways that were intended to protect said family from the evil eye. As we explore different nations and their evil eye charms and depictions, we find a very odd transition. As the eye lent itself to many early designs, these were soon followed by the depiction of the sun to avert the evil eye, as well as many major plants, animals, and arcana. These were considered noble, strong, or holy. However, more popular than depictions of the sun, plants, or animals to avert the evil eye was the depiction of the phallus. In Egyptian culture, we have winged phalluses, horned phalluses, phallic mugs, jewelry, weapons, and art. The renditions are endless. We can also see this echoed in Greek and Roman art as well. It is believed the ancients understood the remedy for the evil eye was a healthy sexual appetite. And this is depicted thoroughly throughout the art of that time. So much so that in a depiction of the 10 major animals, arcana, and plants that would protect you from the evil eye, there is a depiction of the phallus in the strongest, most position. However, I did notice one thing. The phallic depictions beginning in the Middle Ages began to change to depictions of Minerva, or an owl. And this seems to coincide with the fall of Rome and Egypt. We see medieval national flags of certain countries and clans that are depicting anything from steers to lions to snakes, but we don't see any nations that are depicted with a phallic symbol, do we? And it's just very interesting to me that it seems all renditions of this phallic protection from the evil eye were flipped over to the owl, and the owl itself being in modern times associated with many esoteric and Masonic groups. They say horses of the time wore these charms and emblems to detract from the evil eye, and it's written that it was hard to find a horse without a charm like this. These charms would be placed in between the eyes of the horse. This leads me into the variety of hand signals that they say were developed by the Phoenician that represented different versions of the evil eye. These were interesting because many of these are still used today and still bear the same meaning. And furthermore, the different groups of this time would actually use these different hand signals in their artworks to depict different feelings and emotions that they wanted to invoke. So when we look at these artworks, we actually don't realize how much is going on, but every single little detail down to the shape of the fingers and the hand is meant to represent something. And these are all aversions, they say, of the evil eye. Throughout time, you'll come to find that many influential and glorified companies have adopted these evil eye symbols to be representations of their company, including Versace using the Medusa. So now I'm just going to wrap up the video with a few more interesting excerpts from this novel or this book on the evil eye from 1895. There's not going to be a lot of context here. I'm just going to leave a few different quotations and things I found interesting. And hopefully this information was enjoyable or new to you. I thank you so much for being here. Please leave your thoughts below. In conclusion, I thank you so much for being here. I hope you learned a little bit about the idea of the evil eye, or the all-seeing, all-knowing God. This is a concept that has struck humanity ever since the first civilizations, from Egypt even to modern Masonic practices. We still have Masonic marks being put into buildings as representations of this evil eye. So I just thought this was something very interesting that I had never heard of before, from the Egyptians creating the Eye of Horus that went on to basically represent them, and this leading to other countries and clans developing their own insignias and family crests. These are all things that were meant for good luck, or meant to avert the evil eye away from themselves. So this is just something really interesting that I wanted to share with you. A lot of cool information. I would love it if you would check out the book from 1895. I will leave a link for it down below because it's got a lot of great information from before things sort of got reset. And I will leave it there with you. Please leave your thoughts, comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.